Hi folks, Brendan Anderson here, and welcome back to my 7-day property investment strategy series. And this is the last episode, it's episode 7. I hope you've tuned in for the rest of them and enjoyed the ones previously. If you've not, I'm going to go over what I've covered so you can maybe go back and have a look. They're all on my YouTube channel. So number 1 was the intro, just telling you what we would cover, the goals and my aspirations for this series. Number 2 was the rent-to-rent strategy. Number 3 was serviced accommodation. Number 4 was HMOs. Interestingly, rent-to-rent, serviced accommodation and HMO can work as well as your traditional buy-to-let for serviced accommodation and HMOs. Episode 5 was buy-to-flips. Episode 6 was passive property investments, and this is the BRRR strategy. That was 3 R's, you did hear that right. I know I roll my R's because I'm Scottish, but BRRR, also known as Buy, Refurbish, Rent and Refinance. Okay, so let's go over what that is. It's a good one because the minimum entry, and it's the method that we absolutely specialise in here at Opportune Property. It is our favourite strategy. It's one that just is so powerful if used correctly. But the minimum investment you're sort of looking for is 20 to 25 grand, all in. That's total acquisition costs and everything. So it's a relatively low barrier to entry in terms of property world and property prices. Obviously, the more you've got, the faster you can grow, and that's great. You know, you can end up with 8 properties out of 100 grand in a year, for example, which is awesome. Who doesn't want 8 properties for, you know, it ends up being what, 12.5 grand each. Anyway, pros, it's a really fast way to build your property portfolio. So if you want 20, 30, 40, 50 plus houses, it's a great way to build. It's really quick in terms of you in and out in 6 months. And the reason you refinance at the end is you can recycle most of that money back out. So say you started with 50 grand, you might manage to recycle, I don't know, 40, 45 back out and leave some in there. And the reason for that is because you buy it right in the first place, you know the end market value, and you do the refurb as required. So your total costs actually end up being less than obviously the end market value, and then you refinance on a different mortgage to the loan amount of the higher value, and you pull most of that back out. Again, you get monthly cash flow with your properties, as you know, provided it's tenanted obviously. Capital appreciation over time. Again, you can set the criteria for this and what you want. Same with like monthly cash flow and stuff. 200 might be alright, you might be wanting 250, 300 or 150, it just depends, everyone's different. You might not be bothered about monthly cash flow, you might be just want it to buy and hold for the long term because property prices tend to go up over time. Yeah, so what else is there? Yeah, the reason we use interest-only mortgages with buy-to-let, specifically the BRRR strategy, is because you get higher monthly cash flow and you can use your money to go further. And again, it's a great way. Yes, you're not paying down the mortgage, but you're buying and holding for the long term, you know, 20 years maybe. So why would you want to pay that off? It doesn't really work with this strategy. Cons, again, I couldn't really think of that many. There probably are more, but the main one is making costly mistakes by not getting refurb numbers right or buying it wrong in the first place. Again, that's the 2 things that can take you out of this game, because you haven't determined what the end value is, you haven't determined what your maximum input is, and you haven't determined the correct refurb price. You might overspend 10, 15 grand on a refurb, and that's enough to get nearly another deposit on a property. So again, you need to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, then I'd suggest working with someone like ourselves who can help you get there faster and more efficiently without you having to worry about making them mistakes, because we do this all the time and we know what we're doing. If you're wanting to do it yourself and maybe you have a building contractors or joinery or plumber or whatever, and you can get a lot of it done in-house, then that's another great strategy as well, because obviously you can get stuff at cost, you can get labour rates cut, and it's a lot cheaper for you to get in and carry out the works, but you still need to buy right. So maybe get someone that is good at negotiating if you're not particularly great at it, or good at finding the deals maybe. Or if you want someone to front the cash and you can do all the rest yourself, then work with someone who can invest and take it 50-50, and you might decide that you'll own the first property, they'll own the second one, or you just split everything 50-50, or however you want to negotiate it. It's all up in the air. So that's the BRRR strategy. And again, one other thing I would add, we're not limited to location, and neither should you. So you might live in the east coast of England somewhere, or you might live the very tip north end of Scotland, but you want a buy-to-let portfolio in Glasgow and the surrounding areas in the Central Belt, or you want ones in around the Midlands or northeast England, somewhere where there's good yields. Again, we're not limited to where we can source with the network that we have, and neither should you. So don't let the location be a barrier of entry to getting started in this property strategy, because it is a great strategy. So with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed today's series. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the series. I hope you tuned in. If you've got any questions, drop it in below. If you want to raise any points, if you want to share some experience, if you think I'm wrong in anything, drop it in the comments and we'll get back to you. I will reply to them all. Share this with someone that you might want to show as well, if they want to hear about it. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will speak to you soon.